Hey guys, welcome back to Inchworm Gardens. Today is February 28th, 2021. I'm here in Tennessee, Zone 7. It's a windy, wet day, but it's 72 degrees and it is beautiful. We are right on the cusp of spring. You can smell it in the air. You can hear it in the air. The birds are chirping. Got some flowers, some dandelions. Some of the daffodils are popping up. So, man, we are right there. It's a very exciting time. And so here we are. This is the third week of our seed progress. I'm going to give you a little update on how the seedlings are doing. We're going to talk a little bit about feeding, some rules of thumb on when you feed your seedlings. And I'm going to show you all the varieties of plants that we're going to be starting today. All right, so hey, let's get started. All right, so starting with the first batch of seedlings we started 3 weeks ago. We have our kale here, looking real nice. This is our parsley. This is a kohlrabi, oregano, and thyme. So that's 3 weeks of growth, growing real nicely. Coming over here, this is also about 3 weeks of growth. This is just some greens that I planted. This is kind of an experiment. Just heavily seeded these greens in here that we're just gonna clip off and enjoy right here from the kitchen. And then this is also some radishes. We're doing the same thing. So that's growing real well. All right, and moving up on the timeline, at 2 weeks of growth, we have our peppers. And check it out. Almost all of them have sprouted or are coming up. Those are looking real nice. And then at 1 week of growth, we have our ground cherries, which you can see just some tiny little guys popping up, and our eggplant with nothing. So there you go. So I'm staggering the planting of my seedlings based on my last frost date and when they need to go out, because some of the cooler season crops like these can go out pretty soon because they can tolerate some light frost and they like the cold weather. And then the warmer stuff like the peppers and eggplants and the tomatoes, I'm waiting to plant later in the season, so it's nice and warm for when they're ready to go outside. So there you go. That's everything that's growing now. Now I do want to talk to you a little bit about feeding real quick, because as you can see I have some water in here. I do bottom water all of my seeds. That's why you can avoid pouring splashing water directly on the leaves, which can lead to fungus and disease. So I definitely recommend bottom watering, where you simply just get a tray like this, you fill it up with water, just a little bit there. The plants will soak up as much as they need, and then you can just dump off the excess water. So when do you need to start feeding your seedlings? A good general rule of thumb is when the first set of true leaves start to appear on your plants. When a seedling first pops out, it has two little leaves that are called cotyledon. And these are technically not true leaves, they're considered seed leaves. And just so you understand, a seed actually contains all of the nutrients, all of the energy that a seedling needs to push its way through the ground and to start growing. So you don't really need to feed it before that, because the seed naturally has that energy already there. But when these true leaves start to appear, which they often look very different, as you can see, this is kind of a little heart-shaped. This is much different. Actually, I believe the Greek derivation of cotyledon is cup shape. So as you can see, it does kind of have a cup or heart shape, that cotyledon. So, but when the plant starts reaching its these true leaves, then these roots are going to start searching for nutrients in the soil. And if you're using a starting mix, it actually often does not have any nutrients in it. It's peat moss, perlite. It's a good medium to grow seeds, but it doesn't actually have any nutrients that the plants need. So at this point, you are going to start wanting to add some fertilizer in the water so the plants can soak that up and begin feeding, and that will help their growth. So just think of that as a general rule. And these are all good examples. As you can see, this parsley here, see how different the cotyledon is? This is the seed leaf, and then this is the true leaf. Looks totally different. Same with the kohlrabi, and even the little thyme. You can see, where's my pencil? There you go. See the real small cotyledon there, and then the true leaves there. So this whole tray is ready for a little bit of fertilizer. Now I don't want to get too into fertilizers, but I'm going to just give you a real basic overview of what that is. So you can really use any fertilizer to feed your plants as long as it's water soluble, meaning that it can be absorbed in water, because the plants can utilize those nutrients much quicker than a granular fertilizer, which is usually looks like gravel or little balls that you would sprinkle on top of the plants, and that acts as like a slow release feeding. Any fertilizer that you're going to look at is going to contain 3 numbers, and they're always in the same order. See that 242? So that stands for always the first number, NPK, nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium. Those are the 3 macronutrients that all plants use to grow. Now this is what I was talking about. I didn't really want to get too into this because you're getting into the realm of, you know, scientific chemical stuff. But all you need to know is that this is like a cool little rule of thumb that I learned. Up, down, all around. Nitrogen helps plants grow up. It produces leafy growth and promotes stem growth. Phosphorus, down, promotes the root growth and also the flower production. And the potassium, all around, that just promotes all around health and growth for your plant. So up, down, all around, nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium. Just get any good organic fertilizer that has a low NPK. Give it a little bit every, you know, once those first true leaves appear, it recommends every 7 to 10 days give it a little feeding and your plants will be happy. So that's all I want to say about feeding and fertilizing, but it definitely is something that your seedlings are going to need, so look into it, get the good fertilizer, and that will make all the difference. I also wanted to quickly say that those macronutrients naturally exist in good quality soil: nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. Some people swear off fertilizing at all and they just create awesome organic matter rich healthy soil to feed their plants, and that's totally fine too. So you don't have to be dependent on store-bought fertilizers if you just create awesome soil for your plants. Just want to throw that out there. But most people do use fertilizer, and that's totally fine too. Whatever works for you. All right, let's get back to it. All right, we got a lot of seeds to start this week, which is very exciting. I'm going to kick right off with the crown jewel of the summer garden for most gardeners. That's the tomato. Here's the 15 varieties that I'm growing this year. Starting with Berry's Crazy Cherry. It does produce crazy amounts of little yellow fruit. This was developed by Brad Gates from Wild Boar Farms. You might know him from Brad's Atomic Grape, one of the most popular tomatoes, and I believe, according to Baker Creek, it's the best-selling seed ever, at least last year. So very popular, great tomato. I'm also growing Berkeley Tie-Dye Pink, also by Brad Gates from Wild Boar Farms. Really nice one. As well as the Solar Flare, also from Brad Gates. So check out Wild Boar Farms. He actually produces and created these different tomato varieties from crossbreeding, natural selection. These are heirloom seeds that he created. So check out Brad Gates' Wild Boar Farms. Okay, now getting into the Paul Robeson. This is one that I got from a seed exchange the last year or the year before. Teaspoon Currant. This creates tiny little bite-sized, tiny little tomatoes. You can fit like 20 of them in a spoonful, literally. Teaspoon Currant. I'll be growing the Black Beauty. Looks really nice. This one did really well for me last year. Aunt Ruby's German Green. This was actually developed here in Tennessee, so maybe that's why it grew so well for me. Really nice green tomato. All right, now getting into some other ones here. Okay, this is the Mini Bell. This is a little smaller cherry tomato variety. Cherokee Purple, one of the most classic heirlooms. Now let me just talk about this for a second, because we're getting into now the hybrid, some of the hybrids that I'm growing. This is 4th of July. So, I don't want to get too deep into this, but heirlooms and hybrids. Hybrids are not bad. Some people refuse to grow them, and really it's because you can't save the seed from these. You can, but what you grow won't always grow or be true to type. It won't necessarily maybe produce the exact same fruit that you got last year, as opposed to an heirloom variety which has been grown for many, many years, passed down from generation to generation. If you save the seed from an heirloom plant and you plant it, you will get the exact same plant that you did before, or at least there's a much higher chance you'll get the same plant that you were intending to grow. If you save seed from a hybrid plant, it could go back and because it's a hybrid between two different varieties, it might have more characteristics of the father or mother plant. So you might not really know what you're getting the next year. Other than that, hybrids are bred to be very reliable and very productive, so there's nothing wrong with them. I do like and prefer growing heirloom varieties myself, but I'm growing a couple hybrids. So 4th of July, there you go. That looks nice. Another hybrid is the Patio Choice Yellow. I'll throw up some pictures here because this is just a little boring seed packet. Patio Choice, Midnight Snack. This was actually one of the first tomatoes I ever grew. Really, really cool looking tomato there. And the Gold Jubilee tomato. So there you go. Those are the 15 tomatoes that I'm growing this year. All right, I'm also starting my okra today. Here's the 4 varieties I'm growing. First is called Hill Country Heirloom Red. developed in the hill country of Texas, where I grew up. So that has a special place in my heart. Also growing the Jing orange. This was a new variety for the 2020 catalog. It does grow these nice orange pods, really tasty. Very similar to the Burgundy, which I'm also growing. That does have a more orange look. This has a nice dark red, very tasty plant. And then new for this year is the heavy hitter okra. Apparently it just grows insane amounts, which I'm super excited about. Okra is very tasty, really versatile plant. You can do a lot with. Excited to grow that. The last few things, I kind of picked this up on a whim. I don't know how good it's going to grow here. This is actually the state flower of Tennessee, so I'm sure it will grow just fine. This is the passion flower. Looks very pretty. Also growing a salad burnet, which is I've never grown before, but it has a nice cucumber flavor apparently. And gomphrena, also known as globe amaranth. This is a flower called mandarin orange is the variety. So there you go, that's everything I'm starting today. So let's get these seeds in the ground, or in the seed starting cells. Be sure to read the back of your seed packets, because a lot of seeds, it is recommended that you soak them overnight. So I have my different okras soaking, as well as the passion flower and the gomphrena. All right, so I'm gonna get these planted. All right, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and end off there. You don't need to see every seed being planted. It's a little tedious. You get the idea. But do join me next week, because we will be direct sowing our first seeds. That means some stuff is gonna go directly into the ground, because it is warm enough for those seeds. All right, guys, so hope you enjoyed that video. I'll have another seed progress update for you next week. Have a good one. Catch you next time.